Hello, friends. I am in my car here in Cambridge/Puslinch, Ontario. I'm somewhere in between those two cities/towns. And I'm at the Little Tract Trail, which is a trail that I've hiked before, one that I very much like for a couple of reasons. It's usually quite peaceful, and certainly because it's very close to home. I was actually going through my book today of Waterloo, Wellington, and Guelph hikes. And I was like, what's something close that I can do on a Friday before I pick up my daughter? And I kept going back to it. And this is a really handy guide. They have these for all over Ontario, by the way. If you live in Ontario, Canada, you can find these at like any local bookstore. They're going to have these hiking guides. Probably they have one for where you live or where you're tuning in from. And if you're ever touring or being a tourist in our area, in Ontario, make sure to pick up one of these. They're inexpensive and they're great little hiking guides. So yeah, let's have a hike. The backpack I just put on is actually a rucking sack. It's 40 pounds. I figured I want to turn this hike also into a little workout as well. Not that a hike is not a workout, but I just wanted to up the ante a little bit. And so I threw on my hiking backpack, or my rucking backpack here. And 40 pounds of weight added should make for a pretty good workout. All right, we are at the trailhead, and there's a no hunting. The discharge of firearms or use of bows is prohibited at this site, County of Wellington. I'm pointing that out to you because the last time I was here, I don't believe that sign was here. So I wonder what event happened that they felt that they needed to put that sign. One can only imagine. I always like starting off by looking at these boards just to see what there is. Every board seems to have a tick notice. And look, somebody wrote fear here, as if maybe they're fear mongering. I don't know, but I do not want to get bit by ticks. I can tell you that much. So I'll be cognizant of that. But yeah, let's head into the trail. The last time I did this hike, it was minus 18. And today it's about 15 degrees. So quite a bit different from the last time I was here. Everything looks very much different. There's not a fresh snowfall. It's the beginning of spring. Things are starting to turn green. And but both hikes, still no bugs. So there's a similarity, and I'll chalk that up as a win, because they are coming. I know I've mentioned this before on this channel, but right now where I'm at, you can see all these trees the vast majority of them right here they have no leaves on them, they're bare. So they're coniferous trees. Sorry, they're deciduous trees. And where I'm about to head to, they are coniferous trees. And I love going like transition points. So we have deciduous, very wide open sky, and then we're going into coniferous, and it's darker, things feel a little bit more constricted. And one of my favorite features about hiking in forests like these, where it changes, are the changes itself. You feel like you're walking into a whole new world. Alright, so I've taken out my Seek app. I'm gonna see if I can identify these beautiful little flowers here. Okay, bloodroot is what I'm getting. You've observed a new species. Alright, there you go. Cool. And what are these bad boys? More bloodroot? No. Yellow trout lily? Interesting. Wonder how accurate that is. Anyway, it's one of the apps I like to use when you come across things like that. You come across flowers or plants, and you're just unsure of what you're looking at. And it's a nice way to interact with nature and to learn more about the environment that you are surrounded by. So try it out. Try out the Seek app. Would not be a hike if there were not a bag of dog poop somebody left behind. Pretty much every time I go out, you see that. Look at this. This looks somewhat new. I mean, these trails are usually really well taken care of, and it's right in the middle of this trail. That's interesting. Huh. Maybe not so new. I don't know. It's hard to say. Where did that come from? It totally is obstructing the path and crushed a few trees in the process. Interesting. All right, onward. Look at this cool rock formation. It's like there's no rocks anywhere, and then all of a sudden there's a pile of rocks, and there's moss and plants growing off of it, and it just looks so cool. Like this is a mound that was artificially made right here for a reason that I'm unaware of. Makes you think. What is the story behind the mound? I do not know. By the way, I wanted to mention, how do you tell the difference? How do you remember the difference between a coniferous tree and a deciduous tree? And no, that is not a riddle. I'm actually going to share with you how I remember, because for the longest time I would always just be confused, can never remember which was which. And then I realized the leaves fall off of a deciduous tree, right? So like a maple tree, as an example, loses its leaves, so it dies. That's what we colloquially say, that a tree dies in the winter. So deciduous, die, D. Coniferous, I don't have anything that rhymes with it, but or matches up with it, same lettering. But if deciduous equals die, then obviously coniferous is forever living, evergreen, fir trees, anything with pine cones on them, needles on them. Those trees always have some type of foliage, right? So that's just a little trick that I've used. Look at this. I came out to a really sunny portion of the trail, and the yellow trout lilies are blooming. There they are. That's quite pretty. I feel like every time I see something that's pretty in the forest, I later end up learning that it's an invasive species. It just, I don't know why. It just seems to always happen. I don't know if that is. I guess I'll find out. Aha, a sign. I always like looking at signs. What do you have to say? Hardwood forests. Alien invaders attack. Oh gosh. Okay, let's see. Our forests are threatened by invasive alien species. Local ecosystems can have trouble adapting to species introduced from Europe and Asia. Exotic species often dominate native plant communities, damaging the ecosystem. Harmful local invaders include buckthorn, garlic mustard, dog strangling vine, periwinkle, Dutch elm disease, butternut canker, beech bark disease, emerald ash borer. You can help by using local native species in your garden, controlling the spread of invasive exotic species with the help of groups like your local conservationist authority or stewardship council. So there you go. To the point that I was just making, which was that there are invasive species all over forests in southern Ontario. All over. And they're just like ubiquitous. They're so ubiquitous and commonplace that most people have no idea that they're invasive, myself included, being a prime example of that. And I'm out here a lot. And I'm like, wait a second, that thing that flower, that plant that I've seen for years is invasive? Okay. And that's just c'est la vie. That is life here in Southern Ontario. Can I just show you guys? I don't know why. I just really love this tree. It's so big and old and wise looking, which I suppose you'd expect from a hardwood forest like the one I'm walking through right now. Okay, now this is wild leek, and I've actually seen quite a few. I'll take a picture of that. Did it do it? Yeah. I've actually seen quite a few posts on local hiking groups just asking people to be cognizant of the fact that you're not meant to go out into public areas and pick wild leeks and other vegetables that you can forage. You're not meant to do that, because then they get they get overpicked, right? And we lose out on that natural biodiversity, because they are delicious. My wife goes to a farm and picks them, like a family farm, and so we're privileged enough to have that, and that's awesome. But you're not meant to do it. And so there's my PSA. They actually call them poachers, like vegetable or forage poachers. There was a word for it. So anyway, we're in leek season. These things are going to happen, but just be aware. Just know that you're not meant to go into public places, or private for that matter, and pick wild leeks. The cool thing about all these leeks and lilies and other such plants blooming right now is that a week ago it didn't look anything like this. There might have been a couple little shoots coming up, but it's really amazing how quickly things change. That's why you gotta go out frequently. Go out multiple times a week if you can, or at least once a week, because things never stay the same very long in nature. So it always is a little bit different. Look at the roots on this yellow birch, just like coming out into the path, like snakes coming out of the ground. That is also a yellow birch in behind there. They've got this like almost like flaky skin coming off of them. I love when roots shoot up like that. They just look so cool. Oh, there's a little sign up ahead, or something that somebody made. Let's check it out. Look for angels in your life. They are everywhere. All right. I just took a photo with the angels sign because it might be the thumbnail for this video. I never quite know until the end. Ooh, what do you think lives in here? I was walking along and then I felt a temperature drop, like a noticeable temperature drop. And I don't know, but I wonder, there's like a marsh here with a lot of sitting water. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. If there's any cool air coming off of that, because it's also a little bit more shaded over there. I don't know if the different types of trees are producing that. And I'm not really near like a valley or anything that there'd be cool. Well, that's an interesting sound. That there'd be cool air sitting in a valley. I don't know. Just one of those phenomena that you come across walking through the woods. Oh, hello. Hello there. It looks like a Decay's brown snake. Two straight hikes in a row, I've nearly stepped on a snake. They're always really good at getting out of the way, but only at the last second. But that's good to see. You gotta love that. That means that the ecosystem is healthy around here. That there's lots of snakes and Listen to that creaking. Oh man. That's one of my favorite forest sounds. Basically, it happens when these trees are growing so close to one another and they rub against one another, so they create like a creaking sound. And it's an eerie sound. Like if you were walking at night and you didn't know what that was, it's a pretty eerie sound. Oh, these are pretty flowers. Let's see what they are. Okay. Sharp lobed hepatica. We'll capture that. What a pretty flower. This is also why when you open the Seek app, it tells you to stay on trails. That's okay. It tells you to stay on trails because, see how I almost stepped on a snake back there? Well, it's very easy to step on small wildlife that you don't see that's living under all these, all the leaves, and that includes ticks. By the way, if I remember correctly, I'm going to come up here, and just over the edge of the forest, there should be a farmer's field with a nice view. That is the enormous horse poo. Because this area of southern Ontario, a lot of horses, a lot of horse farms, a lot of money in these neck of the woods. And so yeah, I have seen people here. Have I? I think I have seen people on these trails on horses. I mean, even if I haven't, the poo is evidence that they do exist here. Ah, okay, yep, that's right. Here is the farmer's field. Yeah. I'm pretty sure when I went hiking here in the wintertime, which I think was New Year's Day, that I went to this exact spot and took this exact same panorama. But again, panorama. But again, it was minus 18. It did not look or feel anything like this. It's peaceful. It feels like home. Views like that feel like home. No matter where I am in the world, you see a wood and then flat farmland. Not flat, but like rolling hill farmland. Always feels like home. So let's put on our detective caps. Remember we saw the no hunting or bow hunting, no rifle hunting sign at the front? Okay, well there's a no trespassing sign right there. And then, again, be cognizant of being off the trail, walk slowly. But, right here, there is a sign with some holes in it. And could that be some type of ammunition round that is shot through those holes? Well, I wonder. Huh. I mean, I hunt occasionally, but I don't really know guns all that well. Just interesting. Maybe coincidence, maybe it has nothing to do with one another. But yeah, just stay on the trails, mostly on the trails. Don't go wandering too far off when you're on land, on public land, and especially public land that borders on private / hunting lands. You're just asking for trouble. Okay, I gotta give some props to a couple of dog owners. their dogs they're off leash, ran into some water, and I was coming up to them, and they called the dogs back. Dogs came, they got great recall, and they shook themselves off near their owners and not near me, because they wanted to come see me, just figure out who I was, and the owners called them back and they shook all the water off near them. So thank you. I'm now not all wet, smelling like wet dog. So very much appreciate that courtesy, and very much appreciate dogs with good recall who are off leash. A+. Let me show you another great courtesy. People are so great. The vast majority of people are so awesome. So I stepped over this log, right? And as I'm stepping over, I see the orange tied to this stump. And who knows? I probably would have stepped around it anyway, but my eye caught it, which was the intention of it, and I didn't trip over it. And now imagine I'm a young person or an old person or somebody with some type of impairment that it's difficult for them to walk. That could be huge, right? That can be the difference between a great hike and a hike that went totally wrong. So little things like that people can do to make a difference. If you bring a little bit of string with you, you can make notice of those things as well, if the conservation authority or landowner hasn't. Okay, been hiking for 55 minutes thus far. I'd say I'm like 10 minutes away from my car, which is a good thing because my shoulders are burning right now with this rucksack on them. I've done a couple of workouts this week and feeling a bit of fatigue, so I'm glad that we're in the home stretch here. Just another peaceful day out on the trails. Friday afternoons don't really get a lot better than this. I can hear the roar of the road just up ahead, which means that we are almost back. And of course, I'm coming out to the wrong exit. They're not too far from one another. No big deal. I'll just walk down the road a little bit and hope no one hits me. There we are. We're back. We're back. Parking lot filled up a little bit too here. That's good to see. People getting out of work and school on a Friday afternoon and saying, this is about as good as April weather gets, so let's go for a hike. You love to see it. So anyways, guys, that's the Little Tract Trail. Hope you enjoyed hiking with me today. Don't forget to subscribe to these videos and share them with people who also like to hike. Thanks for watching.